residents, go in and stay in your houses. Drive the rats in the tank area.
Good evening to everybody out there in Black Flame Land. Thank you for joining us about an hour late. It has most definitely been a manic Monday, but we weren't going anywhere. So we thought we'd fool you. No, I'm just kidding. All of us are as stressed out as stress can be. So we're going to let our proverbial hair down because I can't do that. I could probably pull some skin forward, but that's about it, though. Although I got to say, Hoof Beast is looking, styling, profiling right now. Look at him. Look at him. I love it. All draped in all kinds of the devil's chicanery.
Reaper and I, we can go twins now because you got a shirt like this. I think yours has the sleeves cut off.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm weird. I kind of don't like sleeves if I don't have to. Let's put it that way. What's up, Kyler? What's up, everybody out there in Black Flame Land? Good evening. Kyler says better late than never.
That was all my fault.
Oh, it don't matter whose fucking fault it is. We're here to have some fun. Kyler says, I want to be cool, have a cool flag and a cool shirt.
Oh, all you have to do, Reaper will send it to you. Reaper sent it from the store.
Yeah.
Hell
I
yeah.
got some cool stuff coming your way anyway for your birthday, Kyler. So just you wait. Unfortunately, the mail is not good at all.
It took a whole week.
A whole fucking week. I'm like, I should have paid for Express or something.
No, I figured the last things took a week. Wasn't your fault.
It's almost always been 2 days. About 2 to 3 days is what it's always been in the past. And now lately it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But before we get into what we're going to get into tonight, we're reviewing 2 excellent
They are
albums. And my take on it's going to be a real surprise because I saw a flip-flop on both sides and I dig it.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break over to our brothers at Poison Valley Clothing in the UK. Check that shit out. Whoopsie. Maybe not. Stupid pointer. Here we go. All right. Poison Valley Clothing. Yet you can do so by getting in touch with John directly on Facebook. So still another chance. October Noir's in there, Nephilim, and a whole lot of great fucking black metal bands in there. So check that out. All right. So, what do we got tonight? We are reviewing two brand new albums from two very prolific bands. Tell them
Yep.
what we got.
We have the latest Cannibal Corpse album, Chaos Horrific, and then we have Dethklok's fourth album. I think they're calling it just Dethklok 4.
Yeah, or Death Album.
Maybe Death Album 4. Yeah.
Yep, Death Album 4.
Yeah, that's it.
If I am correct on that. I could be wrong. So we're going to start with this bad boy. Look at that. You know, I think it was so amazing because when I went to go pull that graphic, I went to Google for this and it had the sensitive blurred out, like the entire Cannibal Corpse album layout. It's like, oh, look at it at your risk. I'm like, come on, man. The name is Cannibal Corpse. What the fuck do you expect?
It's kind of cartoonish anyways, so it's not like it's
It's not like a actual simulation of real life, but still, I mean, for some people, maybe it's a little much, but I fucking think it's fun. I love it.
Yeah, so this
So
was released a couple of weeks ago, and I listened to another reviewer's a YouTube reviewer's description, and he said it in such a clear way. Have you ever had a place that makes hamburgers perfectly where you just love to go and get that same hamburger? And every time you go and get that hamburger, you're going to basically get an amazing hamburger.
yeah. And it's a place that never lets you down.
And that's what Cannibal Corpse is. Name one bad album that they've done. They're all really good and perhaps even getting better.
The only one I didn't get, I mean, I liked it, don't get me wrong, but there was one album, I think either the last one or the one before it, where they played to a click track and it sounded so mechanical versus organic. And I guess I just didn't like that feel, but the songs were still fantastic.
Yeah.
This one is them back to what they do best.
It's so good.
There were so many moments on this record that reminds me of The Wretched Spawn, which is one of my favorites from them. There's so many. But that one, I just like some of the like slower, groovier ones that are just like chicka 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 chicka. It's just a great feeling, and I love the chugga. And you can really tell a big difference with their new guitar player.
Yeah, Eric Rutan coming in has made a big difference. Like you're getting a lot of his main band is Hate Eternal, and so we're getting a lot of kind of like you can hear a bit of Hate Eternal in there. This is total Cannibal Corpse, but I like what he's brought to it. But one of the things that I really, really like is I think it's Drain You Empty. It's the last song.
Yes.
They get really slow on it. And
Not something you expect from Cannibal.
Yeah, you know me. I like it when they slow things down. When they slow things down like that, that's outstanding.
I mean, it brings it to a whole new level of heavy. So starting with Overlords of Violence, how me personally, I always judge by that opening track, sets the tone for the album, and they just come out of the gate swinging. It's got that traditional almost like thrashy in a way, but it's basically more like traditional death. Not a lot of double kick. There are moments where there is, and I like how the drummer is starting to use that a little bit, sparingly instead of just all the way through. but you can definitely tell that they're getting older. Which reminds me of the interview that I just read with the bass player, whose lasting comment, I think it was Metal Injection, says that, well, at some point we're not going to be able to do this anymore. But the thing about this first track that I really love the most, the bass. The bass starts off the track.
Yes.
And it's fucking brilliant.
Well, for the death metal band that I'm in, we're using a filter that is called hammer smashed face, and it's that Webster, and that's what I use for my bass tracks on it. It's really good. It sounds better when I run it through my bass amp, but just even straight on, it sounds really good. But I've got my bass amp already tuned in to have like distortion and gurgle and like good thrust with mids and the lows kind of pushing through. And you're right. So glad you said that, because it starts off and he's just right off the bat. I love that.
It's so tasty. I mean, he writes all the fucking riffs in the first place, coming off the bass. So although I don't know if there is more of a collaboration now than there used to be, but from how I understood it, that they used to write their records, he would like just record all these bass riffs and then send it to the guys and they come up with their parts, based on what he did, because he's got all the notes for you. All you got to do is fill in the chording. And everything is very succinctly like it always is with these guys. Drums were a little lackluster. There wasn't a lot of tasty fills like we're kind of used to him. Kind of sounded a little forced on certain tunes. So I'm wondering if the drummer is kind of, I don't know. I'm not trying to take nothing away from him, because the whole overall, the performance of the record is great. It's just mostly groove and not a lot of fills. And whoever recorded the cymbals, they get lost in the mix on this record. But then again, it may change from CD to Spotify to any whatever medium that you're listening to it. So I'm going to try to, put it through a bunch of different things to get my total opinion. But otherwise, Summonized for Sacrifice, holy shit. So tasty.
Yep, I liked that one a lot.
Even Pitchfork Impalement, which I absolutely love the title of. That was my other big one that I love off this record. But to believe it, but to be honest with you, I listened to it forwards to the end. So it's a record that you can do that. There wasn't a single track on this record that I would have fast forwarded.
Would you say that Cannibal Corpse is a great band for somebody new to extreme metal to get into?
As a starting kind of point, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And George is not human.
Especially
for as long as this man, obviously his neck has been conditioned to be its own monster, but his voice sounds this exact same. There's no effects on it. Is there a little bit of layering on top? Sure, only where they take highs and stick it on top of, a lower growl. But man, he's not human. How could he still be doing this at this age?
Yeah, he reminds me of Chet from Weird Science. I know I told you that before. But Chet is this blob of a beast. His neck reminds me of Chet from Weird Science. Weird Science, for all people out there. That
classic film, by the way.
1986. and the woman that is the robot or whatever she was, the genie come out of the bottle. Oh my, I have a crush on her. But if you watch Weird Science, I don't think you'll ever see Corpse Grinder's neck in the same way after you see Chet.
Nope, probably not. And that was Kelly LeBrock that you fell in love with. So she was like the go-to supermodel at the time.
Oh my gosh.
Just a great movie though, period, especially if you like
Really?
choppy, campy horror that's funny. Great film.
Really. But I was thinking about this, and like if I would have to kind of caution somebody if they were gonna if I was gonna recommend Cannibal Corpse. One, I would say wear headphones. Don't listen to Cannibal Corpse on your phone. Cannibal Corpse plays so many notes, so many quick power chords that are bump, 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 like really fast stuff that you really need to have good headphones on, in my opinion, to listen to Cannibal Corpse. And
Absolutely.
So that's one is, and then the other thing is understand that you really got to kind of listen to them because there's so much going on. Like these riffs are, to me, pretty complicated. It's not just 3 or 4 chords. You're getting probably 8 to 15, 16 chord changes in there for one riff. And sometimes they're really fast. Like it's not a band. It sounds chaotic if you just have it going atmosphere, you've got some other noise going on in the house or something like that. Or like if you're driving down in the car, you're going to miss a lot of it. And it's just going to probably sound a bit messy. But when you Cannibal Corpse with headphones, unholy shit. It is like, I just bow down to their riffage. And every freaking album is so consistent. Great production, great riffs. Like it gives you a lot to chew on. Like I've said before, some bands are like Indian food with all kinds of spices in there. You're not kidding. It's just not like steak and potatoes, which
No.
like that might be what they just love. Like, especially in the South, they don't have a lot of spice and flavor on a lot of their food here.
Exactly. And there's some extra flavors in there too. Just kind of like piggybacking off of those quick ass chord changes that I have no clue how the fuck they do it. But they're also throwing in some like fast rhythmic picking in there too. That is like a triplet in the midst of a 16th kind of chug, which is like so fucking weird. And you know, Satan forbid that they do stop breaks in between their riffing, because they do that shit a lot, which I love that. That's always been kind of like their signature thing. Like, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. It's like, okay, yes. Didn't really get that so much on the last one. But and not to mention, just in the songwriting, there's a lot of different timings in some of the tunes. Let's see, especially on Bloodblind, there is almost kind of like a displacement of time thing. They've kind of fucked around with this on Skeletal Remains and
is it red?
What's that one called? Red, Black, something.
Yeah, Red Painted.
I could never get that one right.
Love that album.
Oh, that album was fucking sick.
Yeah.
Both of them I thought were fantastic. But it's like, now that we've gotten here, I love it that much more. And I'm always kind of iffy on title tracks, because a lot of bands kind of shit the bed on a title track for the album. But the song itself, Chaos Horrific, was just as stand up as the rest of them.
Yeah,
at least in my opinion.
They repeat that a lot, the Chaos Horrific, over and over again. So you know what that song title is without a doubt. But my favorite song was Drain You Empty.
Yeah.
It's because they showed us yet something different. I mean, this album is excellent. Easily, to me, 4 out of 5 stars on this album. It just like all of them. I don't think any of their albums, not even their earlier ones with Chris Barnes, where they sounded really muddy.
Right. So Kyler's got a question. Do we think they still bring the brutal and destruction?
Absolutely. I believe that they are probably the most consistent band in extreme metal. Like another band that I saw a couple months ago, Overkill. I really like Overkill, but not every album is as consistent as Cannibal Corpse. You know what you're going to get with Cannibal Corpse, and in this album, you get a little bit of different stuff. In Drain You Empty, they slow it down a bit. You're getting all the chug-a-chug, all the quick riff changes, really complex riffs. Like this is 100% Cannibal Corpse. Really consistent, absolutely brutal, absolutely throughout.
I mean, they're just bona fide headbangers, like all the way through. They may start off with like this whirlwind, you know, and then all of a sudden it slides into this groove. It's like, oh man, you can just see a pit go fucking wild. There's a reason that they keep touring with, you know, especially headlining with some of these amazing other bands. And Matt, I think they're on tour right now. Is it with Dark Throne? If I'm correct on that, Dark Throne's doing some dates with them.
Mayhem and Gorguts.
That's yep.
And I missed it. I saw Gorguts before their Obscura period, and I love Gorguts because they are the kings of taking metal and thrashing it, shaking it all about, and then saying, "Hey, listen to this." Absolutely original. When Obscura came out in 1998, that fucking album is the most drastic change that I believe metal had since Black Sabbath came out with Black Sabbath.
I would have to agree with that.
Nobody had heard this bizarre type of structure and phrasing with the riffs and in the tone. Like he took out a lot of the distortion on the tone. It's almost clean, and his vocals weren't totally garbled and all that. But I digress. Here we're showing you guys about Gorguts now. but this
one of the best parts of the show.
I totally recommend go get this album. I will be purchasing this album as I like having it on CD. That's what I prefer. It remains to be seen if it will make my vinyl, but it's really, really good. It's outstanding. But I just recommend don't listen to Cannibal Corpse passively. Make sure that you have good headphones on and sit and pay attention to it, because you'll miss so much if you're distracted doing something else when you're listening to Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah, I actually concur on that, because if you're listening to Cannibal on especially this record, if you're listening to it on a phone or YouTube or whatever the fuck it is, whenever George starts fucking doing his thing, it can overshadow the riffage and you're going to miss some of it because that's just the way those kinds of speakers work. So if you got some good noise canceling earbuds, even if you don't have studio headphones, definitely is going to give you the picture of this record so much better. But I think you'll see what I mean about the drummer, though. He's just he's a little off. And when he does a fill, he only does one and repeats the same one every time, because I think he just doesn't, I don't know, like he's not comfortable moving that fast anymore. I mean, the guy's 50 something. So, you know, he's been doing it, 30 years?
Yeah.
Since the 90s.
It would be 30.
This is,
I think they first got together in 88. First album came out, Eaten Back to Life came out in 1990.
That's right. So we're talking well over 30 years of fucking Cannibal Corpse. It takes a toll on you. And who knows if he's practicing when they're not doing shit.
Yeah.
It's not that he's not in shape. It's just
He is really big into his diet and into physicalness. I know he's at least vegetarian. He might even be vegan, and he's been that way for years, like really big on his diet. But he's cut his hair quite short now. I wish he would have left his hair long. I guess he just got tired of dealing with it. I could understand that. But my hair,
and his hair was chaotic as fuck.
yeah, real curly. Yeah. But Alex Webster is looking so old now. Like he's let his beard grow, and his beard is like how my beard is, like all white now. But he's got way more white hair than I do, and we're almost the same age.
I call it the Arnold Schwarzenegger effect. Arnold's hair is not white at all, but damn it, his eyebrows and his beard are bright white. It's like, what? How does this work? Shit, the moment I see a white hair on my eyebrows, fuck, I'll color those too. Fuck that, I'll get it tattooed. I don't give a shit. I'll be black forever. I'm good with that. Oh, man. So, yeah, definitely, we've kind of laid it out for you track by track. And if you're a Cannibal fan and you're expecting them to bring the pain, they are definitely bringing it on this record.
Hell yeah.
But we're going to move on now to the one album that we are just ecstatic about. I know I am. Fucking Dethklok's new record, which it's appropriately titled Death Album 4, which works for us. So, and I gotta say, that front cover that I just showed you guys, stellar artwork. I don't know who did that. It could be the brainchild of the group, which of course his name is escaping me right now.
Brian, let's see here. I think it's Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brendan Small.
There we go.
And of course, there's somebody else extremely important and special in that band.
Yes, which will lead us to a very special announcement at the end of broadcast, but I'm going to leave that one alone for now, which is fine. Actually, we have 2 Easter eggs for you. So we'll wait to the end for that, but let's jump into this surpriser. So fucking surprised. So when I know everybody out there in Black Flame Land is a fan of Metalocalypse, even if you're not a diehard fan, you've seen an episode, you've seen a GIF, you've seen a meme, a soundbite, anything. This is like Metalhead's wet dream fucking cartoon. And we came from the Beavis and Butthead era, and let me tell you, Metalocalypse far superseded what we had in that realm. And then in one fell swoop, they canceled it. They canceled fucking mind-blowing, historic fucking cartoon for metalheads, especially on the extreme metal. And we owe that to Brendan, the creator of Dethklok and the main musician, the brainchild, behind everything. Let me tell you, this guy's fucking guitar work is sick.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, it's so meaty. It's like, that old Wendy's commercial. Where's the beef? He's got it, apparently. Thick ass fucking guitar and these harmonized solos throughout these tracks shocked the fuck out of me. Because everyone's heard Mermaider and some of those classics that just make you laugh.
Yeah.
This album is not going to make you laugh. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's nothing hilarious about it other than a big ass shit eating grin at the fact that this record is just pure artistry magic.
I agree. I think my favorite song is Mermaider 3.
I was going to bring that up, but since that's the last track on the record, I was going to wait, but goddamn. We've seen bands do a part 1, part 2, part 3 to like a series of a storytelling song. Nothing comes close to Mermaider 3. And it's not funny, guys. It's not funny. It's dark as fuck, and it just sucks your soul out while you're listening to it. From the jump, Gardener of Vengeance opens with a womp ass riff.
A really good song.
And I was expecting kind of like their signature thrashiness to a degree. And that's not what you get, in the early goings. I mean, it's in there, it's sporadic, but you're getting some serious fucking groove metal at the same time. I could definitely see that a lot of thought, a lot of time preparation went into this record, because everything just flows.
To me, this is an album where Brendan Small was so meticulous with every single aspect of it. The production, the mixing, the segues between riffs, or the bridges between riffs. It's really, really, really memorable and groovy as well. And
so groovy.
Of triplets and playing along with Gene Hoglan with his double kicks.
The atomic clock.
Oh, so damn good. Like, Gene Hoglan is the perfect percussionist for Dethklok.
Yeah, I don't even think if they would have stuck Dave Lombardo in there, if that would have made sense.
I was thinking of Fear Factory's old drummer.
Oh, Raymond Herrera?
Yeah. He
would have been good for that.
Because of his double kicks are really good. However, the tastiest of tasty fills to me, and they're simple but really memorable, come from Gene.
Yep.
They're so good throughout. If you're once again, listen to Dethklok, because for me, mostly because of Gene, so you can catch every little thing that he's doing. Listen with headphones for them as well. Give it an active listen. Give it all of your attention.
His fucking ride cymbal twinklies in between a groove are fucking stellar. As a matter of fact, that's where I got some of the ones that I use when I'm grooving, and then I just quickly move my left hand up to do a quick like a quick 5-stroke roll into the bell of the ride to get that in the middle of double kicks going. You can just come in and out, and he does that shit. Oh, he's the master. I mean, I don't know. What can I say? I've been with Gene since Dark Angel first started, way back in the 80s.
I can't remember him doing, because I haven't listened to Death Angel much in a while, but I don't remember him doing that with Death Angel. But with Death, hell yes, he did it. And that's what really pulled him apart from Sean Reinert. There's several things that pulled him apart. More traditional, heavy-hitting metal drumming rather than the jazz influence that you got from Sean Reinert.
It's like you can get weird, but sometimes the straight ahead is more powerful.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's what Chuck was going for when he tapped and got Gene Hoglan in. Like, that's a question I'd like to ask him one
I
day.
wish we could.
Uh,
Yeah, one day you will get your answer, I'm sure. But yeah, honestly, I think he probably couldn't get Reinhardt out of that mode of playing, and he was wanting to do stuff that was more back to roots.
Yeah, because he really did go back to it when he did. He also, I think, the Sound of Perseverance. He did the
Oh
pain,
yeah,
the Painkiller cover, which was an excellent cover. As you know, I'm not real
probably the
big,
best I've ever heard.
but it was really, really good. And with Control Denied, Chuck Schuldiner was really heading back to traditional kind of straightforward metal. Now, although I mean, Perseverance and everything that Gene played on was also really technical and really progressive as well.
And I think that's what really made death metal on the map, is not really so much for their technical, like, or I shouldn't say technical, but music theory style arrangements where everything's fucking weird from one second to the next. It was always that drive and then slid you down this big old slope to the groove of death.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very evident on Mutilation on a Saturday Night. I couldn't think of a better track name than that. And for those that are, I see people constantly coming in. We are doing a review on Dethklok's Death Album 4. So that is what we're discussing, in case you didn't know. So just thought I'd let you all know. Yeah, really evident on this one. Very straight ahead, powerful. God damn it, groovy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's a constant thing. It's not always the fast thrash that we're kind of used to on a lot of their first couple of records. And you get differences in his vocals.
Yes, I agree.
He's not just doing the gorilla thing.
And you're not the only reviewer who's brought that up and noticed that as well. Another guy did. I listened to the first review of this album I listened to was by Blaine Smith on Banger TV. I really like his reviews, but I disagreed. He gave him a 3 out of 5 stars. He didn't thrash this album, but it didn't really grab him. And so I had already listened to it once, and I listened to it with my car stereo. And I do have a nice car stereo. It's a Fender car stereo system, but it doesn't beat headphones. And
True.
better with headphones. It's better to listen to that with headphones to appreciate it properly. And so I went back and listened to it 2 more times through, and then I listened to another reviewer, and the other reviewer gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I was much more in agreement with him that it was 4 out of 5 stars. The only thing, like, I love the riffage. I do agree that he has presented some different vocal technique, but I've always felt this way about Dethklok, and especially about his vocals. They seem overproduced. Like, when you put a compressor on and it chops out a lot of what makes it sound natural and what we hear live. I really feel that about Dethklok, even on this album. But I still really like this album, but I just prefer to listen to it with the headphones. It feels like they've chopped off things that make it sound a little more gritty. Dare I say it's heavy, but maybe it's a little too polished. And that's why I didn't go over 4 out of 5 stars with this album. It's extremely well produced, and dare I say maybe too well produced, in my opinion. On it.
I was actually going to comment to that because I've never heard anyone's album that perfectly produced before. I mean, the drums are very dominant. They're there, but they are not overpowering. I heard every fucking cymbal. I heard the Bella the Ride cymbal perfectly because going back to that Cannibal Corpse record we just talked about, you really couldn't make his ride out at all when he was doing the ching 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 ching. Couldn't figure out what the fuck he was doing. So it sounds, I'm not sure what they did, if there was some kind of syntheticness as far as literally pulling all the air out to where you're just getting attack and nothing else. There's zero hum. You don't have any hums from the amps, nothing. Even down to the voice sounds like they stole air out of it, where it's there, gone flawlessly. I don't know. You know, like you said, Brendan is very meticulous about everything. I bet you he probably spent 4 or 5 months just doing final production, the tweaking, which would drive me insane.
Yeah, you gotta only do that for so long, and then you need to step away from the song or move on to another one so you can hear it in a fresh way again.
You know, it was almost kind of like you said, those early Fear Factory records. Not a lot of verb of any kind. You're not really catching air. But then again, they were supposed to be so mechanical sounding that was kind of the point, which I can understand that. The only way to reproduce that live, though, is to have, you know, his guitar, his, you know, vocal mic going through into the mixing board and having an engineer that can do all that shit. You know, I almost wonder if he built a skeletal level that, you know, like, this is what I'll take on the road, so it sounds just like this. Some of those guys do that, especially if they're good with software. Satellite Bleeding, another one of my favorite tracks. From beginning to end, just fucking great. Dead Face 2 is also really good. I love the brutality that is brought. You know, the drums are just super dominant. And there's not a lot of fanciness in those fills, and it doesn't mess up his guitar work. There was a couple moments where it kind of reminded me, like the guitar sound, I don't know if you got this, kind of reminded me of early Slipknot sound.
Yeah.
Kind of like that wow, 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 wow. You know, I'm assuming he's probably using an 8-string or a 7-string.
Yeah, it's at least a 7, definitely a 7 a lot of the times.
Because, I mean, he's just hammering it. Not really letting anything, you know, ring out. But actually, it was on Satellite Bleeding. I was talking about those fucking guitar solos that were just mind-blowingly beautiful. I just wasn't expecting that from Dethklok.
Yeah.
Some of it's there because I went back and like listened to, you know, some of their other hits from the other records. And I'm like, some of it's there, but damn, there was one song where it lasted a whole minute. There was way less singing, way more leads being played.
Yeah, I like that the leads are really beautiful.
Mind blowing. I'm expecting, I'm going to be laughing my ass off. I even said that to myself when I right before I started the record. And I was just like, I can't believe how fucking talented he is. Gene, I mean, yeah, we already know. Yeah. We've known him from so many other bands, but this guy, why isn't he headlining festivals?
Yeah.
Or does he really want to? I guess.
One thing was brought up is there's been rumors that there's been some grumblings between Adult Swim and taking him to court over imagery used and over music and just the kind of Dethklok name. So they've been kind of fighting this over. So we're kind of thinking that they came to some sort of agreement and they kept it out of the media, because now we finally have an album after 10 years, I think it is, when the third album came out.
Yeah, I do remember that also, and he talked about it a little bit in one of the interviews, because when this album was just getting ready to drop, he did an interview about that, and then talking about a movie coming up, and it was like the interviewer was like, "Oh man, just like you've been through so much shit and blah blah blah." I'm just like, shut the fuck up, dude. I hate interviewers like that. I'm just like, okay, can you stop sucking the proverbial dick and just get to thank you for coming back with such great shit that we missed. That would have been better, in my opinion. But he's like, yeah, it's like one minute I had a very high rated, piece of art that I've created, on TV, and really enjoying that. And, that being my legacy, to gone. And he's like, well, fuck, what do I do now? And yeah, like you said, he had to fight tooth and nail to get his own creation back. Now, why do you think they would try and hold on to that?
I know.
Were they planning on doing reruns or something?
I know. I mean, the reruns, they've already created a base of people who recognize it. It's already got a reputation. And all he's doing by going out on his own is he's keeping something that they decided not to continue. He's keeping it alive and keeping it going, which will inevitably help them out in the long run.
Well, isn't that interesting? Because, a little bit of a spoiler if you don't know this. Not his album drops. It's a great success thus far. And Cartoon Network is no longer going to be around.
Wow.
They're pulling the plug. It's almost bittersweet, which is unfortunate, because I'm going to be so pissed if I can't enjoy my reruns that on all the apps I got, where I can watch regular show. What was the one? Teen Hunger Force, something, or what? You know what I'm talking about? That one. Danzig was on it once, and it was fucking hilarious. But there was just so many great cartoons on that network, and now they're gone. Oof. So it's like, I hope these cartoons don't leave us.
Speaking of Danzig, don't we need to honor Kyler?
Well, his last comment was also, sorry in advance if I pass out. He's been pretty silent, so I think he's probably passed out on us, but that is okay. But then again, you've gotten through Manic Monday, and sometimes you got to get ready for Titillating Tuesday. Which I'm sure everyone is just ready for. This is my only day off, so I'm just like, okay, my only day off goes in a blink of an eye, and I'm back at the shop again. I used to have 2 days off. It don't work that way no more.
Right with me. Sunday's my day off.
Oh, nice.
Shall we say?
Well, you could be extra specially blasphemous.
Yes. Well, I can't wait to wear this shirt Sunday. Greenwood.
I can literally see you parading around town, just like cheesing like a motherfucker. Like, I love it.
Especially now that the new Exorcist movie is out.
For that movie to come out now in 2023, people's attitudes towards it are so divided because, obviously when the original popped out in the early 70s, there was nothing like it.
Absolutely.
And everyone lived in fear of, the cloven hoof, red-tailed devil coming after you with his minions. Now everybody's like, fuck yeah, I want to see some new shit. I want to see these two girls get, fucking possessed and run amok. What are they going to say? What are they going to do? But I wonder, though, is parts of it kind of PC in a way? Because if you remember what she did with the crucifix in the original.
Oh, yes.
That part, every time I watch it, I die laughing.
Oh, that scared the hell of this fourth grader when I watched that movie for the first time.
Well, sure. There was nothing like it. I mean, you really couldn't get your hands on all the 70s exploratory horror that was going around the world. So you couldn't see a lot of like the Italian horror until years later in the 80s. And then all of a sudden, all the late night or early morning movie hosts would show them. Of course, they'd be dumbed down and edited for television, but so the fucking Exorcist comes out and it's like, whoa.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you brought that up now that we're talking about The Exorcist. I thought the Pope's Exorcist was better. The only thing I really disliked about the Pope's Exorcist was when the little boy was talking with the demon voice. It sounded like it came through some fake processor. It sounded really artificial. They could have lined me up and I would have given them the nasty devil. I could give them the lows. I could give them the highs. I can articulate pretty well when I'm doing my devil voice. I would have made it sound so much fucking better. And so would so many other death metal and black metal musicians.
Oh, guaranteed. They would have got a much more organic kind of sound rather than a pitch bender and somebody speaking through, a vocalizer, I guess is what you would call it, to make the sound that way. I really do think that they should probably do that. And I was just reading that the guitarist for Trivium is going to be doing the movie score to an upcoming film. I'm going to have to find that article. It was really kind of interesting because I'm like, okay, so they actually went after a metal musician to do the score on this particular film. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. Because I always kind of felt that metal musicians, especially in horror movies or even industrial guys, could do a really good job of doing movie scores for horror films because it brings that kind of flavor. Yeah. Oh yeah, here it is. They're finally making Deathgasm 2, which was, if you saw Deathgasm, the first one, it's black metal based. These 4 kids in high school end up coming into contact with these pages to raise, the devil. And it's just Norwegian awesomeness. And Trivium's Matt Heafy will be actually doing the music for it. So instead of subpar, I would say, musicians, I almost want to say that they probably did a lot of programming for it versus live musicians for the first one. Dude, if you haven't seen it, it's the funniest goddamn shit you'll ever see in your life. You will love it. You will want to watch it every night. I'm pretty sure you can find it on any app. Deathgasm. So, yeah, I agree. If they would have, for all these little demon movies, and I'm sorry, with fucking Russell Crowe as that priest, I was just waiting, going, come on, say it. Say it. Are you entertained, Asmodeus?
Yeah.
I couldn't get out of that mode, man. And his Italian accent sucked. Oh my gods.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, he tried. He came back. He did something different.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. It was fun. But from what I understand, though, that new Exorcist movie is killing it right now.
Really, I saw it Friday night, and I just felt like it needed to be much more brutal, in that the girls needed to say much more provocative things. They just kind of sat there and like growled a lot, and showed off their white eyes or their red eye, orange eyes, and kind of stared down and acted ugly. And I thought it was missing. More people needed to die for sure. And give things away, but more people needed to die, and they needed to push the limits instead of being PC. I'm so glad you said that, because it was more PC.
See, that's what I was afraid of.
I totally agree. It was.
Now I'm going to hate it.
You won't hate it. It's just you're going to feel it. I believe it falls flat.
And that's, damn. When they went to do not the second Exorcist, but the third one, Exorcist 3, even though they didn't have that like shock and awe, they did shock and awe in a brutal way, which made up for literally everything that it couldn't give us from the original, because of, the fact that the priest was the one that was possessed this time by the serial killer. So I thought it was a piece of brutality. I still watch it to this day and get the shivers. So what they could have done, going back to roots and having some sort of child, in this case, 2 of them, possessed, they could have went to great lengths of brutality that, you know what I mean? There's no reason they shouldn't have. So if they didn't do that, it's lacking.
And I really liked the references. Was it Egypt in the first one where they were doing the excavations, or was that Iran or
Iran?
Yeah. Well, I loved those references, and that Beelzebub statue. And
Pazuzu. Yep.
And when they Pazuzu, and then when they did when it was black lit and she reached up and like that,
it was behind her.
Like, I have goosebumps right now thinking about that stuff. And when they had tied her up on the bed, and she was like, "Fuck this," and she levitated herself up, I was like, "Fuck yeah, she's gonna fuck shit up."
She sure did,
because they had like the demon was possessing 2 of them, and I was thinking they were gonna do that and just kill a bunch of people in it.
Yeah,
that's
bad enough if you got 1, you have 2. So
yeah. And they did kind of have different sides to them, which I did like that dynamic. There's a lot of good stuff in the movie. Like, I'd say go see it.
Oh, I'll still watch it. I ain't gonna pay $13 to see it, but $5.99 on VOD. You got me. So, and speaking of movies, when Dethklok, the movie, comes out, I think it's going to do very well.
Yeah.
At least I certainly hope so. Especially for all the diehard fans. So it almost makes me wonder, is this album kind of going to be somewhat of a soundtrack for that movie?
Maybe.
That'd be pretty badass.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Bring it on.
Yeah. So that is our take on the new Dethklok album. And it's time for some spoilers, because I haven't released any of this information yet. But first, I'm going to let Hoofbeast tell you his awesome news.
Yeah, so next week we have got the founder and the main architect for... Now they've done they've put out 3 albums in 4 years, I believe it is. They really are an excellent mix if you like Deathspell Omega, which is like avant-garde black metal, really weird, dissonant black metal. This guy takes it and makes it even better. It's like a mix between that and 1998 Gorguts Obscura.
Ooh.
and a little bit of slow kind of chugs like Ahab as well. I can hear
Oh,
music.
killer.
So next week for Tracks of the Damned, I will not be fucking late. I'm not going to let anything get in the way of this. We are going to have
Neither will I.
We are going to have Nick Turner of A Causal Intrusion. So the band is A Causal Intrusion. Go listen to all 3 of their albums. They're all on Spotify. Every album is a little bit different. Some are a little bit more raw, but everyone is so artistic, so cram-packed with dynamics and different flavors of metal. It's so good. This dude was like really excited to get on as well. These guys are, I learned this from watching another guy's review that I like. I think it's called Metal Trenches. I watched him, and he brought them up as one of the best albums that came out in September. And
how do you spell their name?
ACAUSAL, A Causal, and then Intrusion, A Causal Intrusion. ACAUAL.
Put that out there into the comment section so all of y'all out there in Black Flame Land can do your homework.
Yeah, so this guy's from the West Coast, and he was like, hey, man, yeah, I'm down anytime after 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm like, oh, that's great for us. How about we'll just do our regular Tracks of the Damned time? And he was like, yeah. So I've been listening to them a lot as well. I had to get in a lot of Cannibal and a lot of Dethklok for tonight's show. But I'm going this whole week, I'm listening to all 3 of their albums. They are outstanding. It's right up my alley. I like this weird dissonant stuff where they have one guitar that's with distorted and one's doing some bizarre little single note, like creepy shit in the back. He's a master of this. It's really kind of complicated. Like, it gives you a lot to chew on. It's not just simple basic stuff, but it's not like technical death metal that's like so quick and shredding and all over the place that where, you know, I can't really get into it. I can't shred like that. So, tempo
it's got to have some feel, groove.
Yep. Tempo changes, time changes galore with this guy. Like, you guys will love it. That's next Monday on Tracks of the Damned. A Causal Intrusion, and Nick Turner will be on with us.
Nice. So now for my big reveal. So those of you that are live are hearing it first because the ad comes out tomorrow. Because I have a legend and a hero of mine coming to the underground on October 24th. He needs no introduction, otherwise known as the Atomic Clock. Gene motherfucking Hoglan said yes. He will be with me on the underground again. I am completely blown away that somebody of this magnitude, Testament, Death, Dark Angel, Dethklok, obviously, Fear Factory, he even stepped in there. This guy is the guy that every band calls for either a record or a live tour. He's in demand, and he's been around for damn near 40 years, and he's still fucking tight and still wearing ankle weights
those big old
to
boots.
this day.
Big untied up boots.
Yep. So if you're a fan of any of those bands, you have heard his playing. And for drummers out there especially, go to Drumeo, because he was just on Drumeo on YouTube. I want to say almost a year ago. And it is an absolute master class. So,
man, this is huge.
Fucking huge.
Great.
Because he's super fucking relevant.
And advertise the hell out of this one.
Oh, yeah.
We need you to advertise this out. Like, we enjoy doing this. Like, we put a lot of work into this. We need to grow this. Please share this out. Tell your friends about it. Your friends are into metal. Like, we talk about all kinds of shit. We're older guys. We've been into metal since we were knee high for the most part. And
Short pants, you betcha.
totally dedicated.
And we appreciate y'all joining us every Monday to kick off your week. We do apologize for last Monday. Sometimes things get a little hairy, but guaranteed a smooth ride from here on out. And definitely looking forward to sitting with Nick there on Monday, next Monday. So be ready. It's one of our, it'll be our second one on Tracks of the Dam, right?
Yeah. And go listen to it first so you guys can have some questions for him. He'll love that. Like, there's not a lot of shows like this that allow you guys to type in comments and Reaper can throw them up there and then they answer it. I mean, it's not much different than actually meeting the person. Like, I can't wait to ask Gene Hogland questions.
I mean, my questions go back to when he was known for taking trash can lids, broken metal fans, and putting them on his cymbal stands to create so many different metallic sounds that you hear on those records, those early Dark Angel records. You'd open up a hit parader and there he is. Somebody had snapped a photo of him behind his kit. And he was also, a big guy like myself. So naturally, I looked up to him probably more than any other drummer out there that was a toothpick, because this guy could deliver speed better than most of them out there. Him and Dave Lombardo, I don't know. Gene was a little bit higher, just not in as a popular band, which seems to always be the case. It's like the most popular bands, the mainstream metal bands, there's always guys in bands that are a little bit below their level that are better. And he was definitely one of them. And he's earned his stripes and then some. So that'll be on the 24th, and that will go out tomorrow as well as for a causal intrusion. So be looking for this. Mark your motherfucking calendars. We thank you guys so much for joining us tonight before you start the rest of your week. And don't forget, Demons out in Tennessee, Jackson, Tennessee. I will be there this Saturday at the Tennessee Metal Devastation Music Fest at the AMP, covering all the bands that night. So lots going on. Keep tuning in, share the fucking shit out of it. But the most important thing that you should be doing every fucking day, besides take no shit, always stay heavy. Maybe, maybe not.